Welcome to the Only Healthcare Podcast. I'm Randy Vogenberg with a special additional episode that was recorded at the Nicholas Hall North American Conference. And we're asking some additional questions of a couple experts regarding the additional conditions for non-prescription use, or ACNU, and give you some explanation, again, kind of remind you of what the context was. For many people, even basic medicines are hard to get. A parent working 2 jobs may not have time for a doctor's visit. Someone in a rural town may live hours from the nearest clinic. The FDA's new ACNU rule creates a pathway to fix that. It does that by moving certain prescription drugs into the non-prescription category, while adding smart safeguards. Think of it as a new, modern version of over-the-counter access. Bob, I wanted to ask you, is ACNU, the additional condition for non-prescription use, the same as telepharmacy or direct-to-consumer DTC?
It's a great question, and I can see why that would be something of interest to the audience. It's really not. It's really a completely different model. Certainly, telepharmacy has come into the mainstream over the past 4 or 5 years. But to give you an example of scale, one of the leading telepharmacy providers has about 2.2 to 2.5, depending upon the data source, of annual subscribers. If I just look at Walmart, we're talking about 200 million per week. So the scale is completely different. And when you start thinking about what ACNU is supposed to do, this is about providing turnkey access to the product that is supported through the new pathway. And so that would be, at the shelf, because the FDA and the ACNU components are going to provide the type of guardrails to make sure that the product is right for the person who is purchasing it.
So here's another question for you, Bob. How should we think about benefits or risks of simultaneous marketing?
That's a great question. And I think it's a very important one to share the distinction here. Is that the healthcare provider is still going to be making the appropriate decision for his or her patient. So certainly there may be an RX product that the patient has been prescribed by the doctor. The product may also be available through ACNU at retail facilities. But the healthcare provider may make a decision that he or she wants to be monitoring that patient's progress on the drug that he or she prescribed. So certainly there can be simultaneous marketing because the HCP is still going to play a critical role in that monitoring that patient's health. Thanks to Bob Stirling for answering those couple of key questions that came up during our live North America recording of the ACNU. Next up, we have Bob Barron, who is also a pharmaceutical manufacturer veteran with a background at several different companies and also in consumer healthcare with switch of Zyrtec prescription to OTC. So here's Bob Barron and Mary Alice Lawless.
Bob, a stated advantage of ACNU is knowing who the consumer is at an individual level and being able to communicate to encourage compliance. How is that different versus what an RX company could do now?
Well, the RX companies don't want to be involved in compliance. They've spent millions of dollars, and we haven't seen compliance change in the 40 years that I've been involved with healthcare. So I think with the ACNU, you almost have a built-in compliance mechanism that's going to allow the patient to get information that empowers them to take control of their disease.
Yeah, who actually implemented those disease management programs? Did the brands implement them directly, or did they have to go
Well, the
through a third
brands had
party?
the third party folks, the PBMs, through letters to you're missing your dose and things like that. And with all the programs that I was involved with over the years, the um, rate might have changed from 2 months to 3 months, but after you stopped the spending, which was a lot of dollars, then the compliance rate dropped off. Even with things like cardiovascular disease, where you needed to be on these drugs for the rest of your life, and indeed, after at the greatest, you got 6 months of compliance.
And those types of programs, who paid for them? Did the drug manufacturer pay for them, or did the health plan pay for them, or both?
The drug manufacturer paid for those because that the payers believed that they had the most to benefit, right, by people staying on those drugs.
And is there a human resource cost even to the payer?
Um,
I mean, I remember being a part of some of them, and even if we were bringing everything for free, they're like, "Oh no, you don't understand. We have to
oh,
get this all approved. We have to have
Take a pause. Answer the question.
okay. We have to assign people to this program. We have to report on it if we're going to run it. So you're asking actually us to bear some cost, even if it's not hard dollars.
sure. The human resource cost to the plan, and their agenda is not the agenda of the manufacturer, right? So, what's your need of the day is not the plan's need of the day. So, certainly it's very hard to convince them to devote their human resources to a one-off that you want to do with your particular product.
So, in terms of this question that was posed at the Nicholas Hall North America conference by one of the audience members, really, this is a whole new paradigm, it seems. And maybe you can give us your perspective in terms of, is this an opportunity for the consumer healthcare companies, especially the leading companies, to step up and take a leadership role in the healthcare ecosystem?
Absolutely an opportunity. They have little involvement now with managed care, and those patients that the managed care have they're members of those groups. So if a company or a product team wants to get involved, ACNU is going to allow a way to speak with payers like they've never been able to do before.
And what are your thoughts in terms of these products? Actually, you just mentioned the getting to the patient through the payer without the heavy burden of cost, because the acne will do the heavy lifting. But what is your perspective on payers and coverage?
Coverage is actually going to the product's still going to be covered. Products are going to be covered the way they have been, but this is going to be a new area. I don't believe there's going to be a whole new formulary set up. There's going to be a way that all these folks that have been undertreated or not treated are going to enter into the system. The payer is going to like that because they're going to see better outcomes. But I don't believe that there's going to be a huge benefit design change. There's certainly be some activity there, but it's not going to be anything like we have with formularies today, or managed care and in the drug realm.
We see data indicating that FSAs are finally mature. People understand them, consumers understand them, retailers know how to play with them, the employers are willing to fund them to some degree. Do you see those types of accounts, FSA, HRA, MSA, being used to perhaps underwrite some of these costs for the member?
Absolutely. This is a way for the FSAs, MSAs to be highlighted with, products that, haven't been easily available or run to that system. So it's going to bring products into the system of FSA and MSA, unlike prescription drugs are now. And, that particular patient can take advantage of the money that's going into those particular accounts.
Yeah, you and I worked together on contracting OTCs with some of the health plans that have their own integrated pharmacies. And the financial model just doesn't really work when you get into the paradigm of discounts and rebates that pharmacy. I mean, the OTC products and now the non-prescription with acne products, they're just not that high cost. They're being sold at some kind of consumer set market price. And I think that's the benefit that we have to maintain in order for this, this opportunity to really be viable for the consumer too. Nobody wants that variable cost. I mean, do you sort of agree?
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to be like there's going to be co-pays or just different things that are set up. This is really just, think about it as, an OTC that people have, access to now with some, like the guidelines say additional conditions for non-prescription use. So it just allows you to gain access to a product that previously you had to go to a physician, go to a pharmacy, and pay a copay. This is going to change things in a lot of ways. And since it's a new act, I think the innovators are going to have a chance to really design the way things look.
Thank you, Bob. And thanks for the help, Mary Alice, with these questions. We've covered a lot of additional material that came out of the Nicholas Hall North American Conference. So hopefully this has been helpful to our audience and provide some additional insights around this whole area of a new drug status established by the Food and Drug Administration in May of 2025. Thank you for joining the Only Healthcare podcast. You can hear us on Red Coral as well as any of the podcast platforms that you may be using on a regular basis.
Thank you for tuning in to the Only Healthcare podcast. We hope you found today's episode insightful and informative. Remember, our mission is to provide actionable and inspirational insights on how we can improve healthcare cost, care, and accessibility for all. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and share with your friends and family. For more resources and updates, visit us at onlyhealthcarepodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what topics you'd like us to discuss in future episodes. Until next time, stay informed, and together, let's navigate the journey to better healthcare.